there are some really great places to get some great buys. Hi there everyone, I hope I find you well. It's really great to see you. Welcome back to the loft up here on Weir Yard with me, Jennifer Kirk. And today we're going to delve again into the world of model rail bargains. This is an area that really does keep coming up over and over again. The rising costs across the board from pretty much all the manufacturers of model railway items. We're also seeing inflation outside of the hobby as well. It's not just contained within the hobby. So money is getting pinched ever tighter, and that means it's so important to search out those bargains that make this hobby a little bit more affordable. Now, I was recently at the Doncaster Festival of British Railway Modelling, and whilst I was there was a lot of traders on the floor and a lot of second hand as well. Now, we've always extolled the virtue of things like new old stock, and we've also delved into some of the shops that really do specialise with second hand and price stuff to sell. And that was exactly what I was finding at the show on some of the trade stands. So I'm going to pick out a few of the bargains that I was able to pick up, and actually I think you'll agree with some of these that they were really well priced. And certainly when you're seeing even wagons pushing the £40 to £50 mark, it's quite refreshing to find pretty much as new in box for anywhere down to a tenner. So come with me, and in association with Trainomatic, makers of DCC decoders and accessories that are made by enthusiasts for enthusiasts, and we'll take a look at what's on offer. Additional support for this video is provided by Billy over at Billy's Replacement Speakers, taking your merch experience up to 11. And you can find all of our merch in the merch shop just down below underneath the video if you want to pick out yourself something flash to wear maybe at the next show. But without further ado, let's take a look at some of these second-hand bargains that are on offer in the hobby. In these increasingly chastened times, it's probably even more important now to share with people where you can find some really good priced items. And in previous videos, we've concentrated on what I refer to as new old stock. It's essentially stock that's been in a shop's stock for quite some time, so it's at a previous RRP. And as the RRPs go up year after year, it then actually becomes a really favourable buy. But what I'm going to focus on today is some of these second-hand items which are mint in box. And essentially you can find these at a really favourable price and essentially get what amounts to a new item. It's just effectively somebody else has paid some depreciation for you. Now, the first example I want to show to you is the centenary year Hornby Terrier. This is number 45 Merton, and it was produced in this commemorative box. But what I really want to show you here is this is mint. It's pretty much never been out of the box before. And I got it for £85, which is actually a substantial saving on the current RRP for the Hornby Terrier. And this comes complete with all of the inner material. If I can just slide this box out. And as you can see from the sleeve, it is absolutely mint. So inside we've got absolutely pristine the inner case. And we've got all the paperwork, but the model itself I have actually taken out because I couldn't resist playing with it. And here it is, and as you can see, it's in absolutely perfect condition. So effectively, you're buying the centenary model, which is still available brand new from a few stockists, for a substantial discount over the new price. And as I said before, I got this from Ellis Clark Railworks, and that's their second-hand department for Ellis Clark trains. And it's not just O gauge, there's a lot of things such as this in double O. And it just goes to show that there are some really great places to get some great buys. Now I'm going to put this one to one side. I'm going to move on to the next item that I bought, and this is from the Doncaster show. And let's not neglect the fact that the model rail shows are starting up again, and there are often some really good buys to be had at these shows. Now, I bought these two items from a stall that goes by the name of Anorax Anonymous. Not really a name that kind of trips off the tongue, and I know we're all trying to get away from the stereotypes, but what couldn't be ignored was the prices. Now, it's been a very long time since we've had an effectively new in box, and you can see there the box is in perfect condition, Bachmann ventilated van for £10. And this model, I'm going to get it out of the box, came from Anorax Anonymous at the Doncaster show, and they were doing a brisk trade. It has to be said that given the prices that they were charging, it's not surprising, and I think they pretty much were on the verge of selling out by the end of the final day of the show. Such was the favourable prices. So we've still got all of the internal packaging. Just going to need to clean the roof. It's got a little bit of what looks like a mould bloom. Really, really easy to clean that off. But the rest of the wagon is in pretty good condition. It has been run. You can see there's some dirt on the wheels, but that's really easy to clean up. And what we've got here is a wagon which the current RRP from Bachmann is probably in the region of pushing £30 now. So that's 1/3 of what you would expect to pay for these type of wagons now. And it's in pristine condition. We've got all of the brake rigging intact, wheels intact, couplings are intact, everything's there, and there's no damage on this item. Moving on to the next item here, and I have to admit that this little bit of damage on the box, that's my mistake. It got squashed a little bit on the way home, but this was pristine when I got it from the same stand at Doncaster. And here we have it at £14, less than half the current RRP. And this is for the 30-ton bogie bolster wagon. And this comes with the load as well. So I'm just going to pull this out of the box, get rid of that. And again, these have become quite expensive, and to be able to get these second hand is really, really good in this kind of condition. Again, we've got a wagon here. In fact, this, if you look at the wheels, this hasn't been run. It's never seen the rails. I don't see any sign of it having run. And you can see here there's no bloom on it or anything. The couplings, the buffers, everything is intact. And even these stanchions too, these are often the bits that get broken and lost, but they're all there. And we've got the 3 girders that come as a load for this item, and £14 from the show. And they did have a lot more like this. They had some well trolls too. And again, it's a really good source of second-hand models. And actually talking to some of you guys who I met at the show, they said that Anorax Anonymous, it's actually quite well known around the more local area there, for being a really great source of these high quality second-hand items at a very favourable price. The final item that I want to show you today, this came from the Rails of Sheffield second-hand stand. And Rails of Sheffield, stalwarts of a great many shows, they were there in force with plenty of second-hand items, mostly locomotives, and there was some really great buys on there. And it was quite testament to the pricing that they also nearly ran out of stock. They started to have some big gaps on their tables at the end of the show, because simply so much of the stock they'd brought had been bought. Now, I had my eye on this from near the beginning of the show, and it was still there at the end as they were starting to pack up, and I think it was just a sign that I needed to buy this. So it's from the Rails pre-owned, and it comes with all the guarantee that you can expect from Rails of Sheffield, so you can buy with confidence. No problems whatsoever, no quibble guarantee on these. But we did review the more modern Bachmann A4 compared to the Hornby Super Detail A4, and actually these did hold their own quite well. So the price tag on this is £129, which again, when you compare to the RRP for some of the new locomotives coming through, that is actually really, really favourable. And you just get this out of the packaging, and we do still have all of the detailing pack in here. I think the only thing that's been taken out from there is the coupling. And we've got a pristine finish on this. And on their stand, all of the locomotives were out of their boxes, so you could very easily just really give these the once over. Looking to those wheels, there's no real sign of excessive wear. It's not run a huge amount, it has to be said. Although it has run, they do all come tested and guaranteed. And what I can see here is, again, we've got all of the valve gear pristine condition. Everything's there that should be. The whistle at the front, again, another area that sometimes goes missing with these things. And we've got the NEM pocket in place on the front, but the coupling is in the detail pack. Looking at the other side, everything there again in place. And this Dwight D. Eisenhower, I've not seen this locomotive before, and it just goes to show it's a great way as well of maybe picking up some of those locomotives that you may have missed out the first time round. I know myself that there are a lot of locomotives that for whatever reason I wasn't able to pick up when they first came out, and this is a remarkable opportunity to get those at what is actually underneath the RRP of the time that they were released. So Rails of Sheffield pre-owned. Now they do have their shop in Sheffield, where a lot of these items will normally reside between shows, but certainly John is very good at digging through the vast warehouse and being able to pick out some of these great models to take to shows. So it's well worth looking over their stand. So I've shown you here 3 different tranches of models from 3 different retailers who do second-hand items, which give you the opportunity to buy some either new old stock or as new pre-owned items for some really favourable prices. Well, I hope you really enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, and I'm sure you'll agree there was actually quite a good range of second-hand bargains on offer, and the small little sample that I brought to you today was actually representative of some of the really great stuff that was on offer, and there were actually far more traders than those that I've delved into, but I picked these out as a sample of what has been on offer. And certainly Anoraks Anonymous, I know we're trying to get rid of that stereotype of the anorak wearing, but as a shop, do look out for them at shows, because they're my top tip from this video. Because as you saw, some really great models at some really great prices, and actually it showed how popular they were, that at the show they were actually really running out of stock to sell towards the end of the final day, because quite simply people just couldn't get enough of those bargains. So don't forget as well, if you know of a shop that's got some really great bargains, either second hand or maybe new old stock is always the holy grail, you too can share your top tips for other modelers in the comment section down below. Let us know about some of the great deals that you've spotted out there. It's always great to name check your local model rail shop, and do read through the comments, see what's on offer out there. The holy grail of new old stock, it is still out there and still great priced, but also second hand. There's quite a few shops that do deal in second hand, and a number are priced very competitively, so share those bargains and help out a fellow modeler. But until next time, this is me, Jenny Kirk, saying it's been great to have your company. You stay safe now, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care, happy modelling, bye for now. Today's video is sponsored by Trainomatic, makers of DCC decoders designed to be fully compatible with every manufacturer's locomotive. Visit train-o-matic.com to browse the full range and see what they've got suitable for you. I'd like to send out a huge thanks to everybody who supports me on Patreon, and an extra special huge thanks goes out to Anthony Kidson, Offshore Allen, Michael Lockie, Helen Sink, Gary Lewis, David Quinn, Sparky 107107, George Botterini, Chris Moss, Robert Steers, MD of San Juan Model Company and Grantline Products, Sam Yates, Dale Williams, John N from NC, NYMRish, Jonathan Foster, Peter, Clifford Ison, Larry W. Grant, NI Railways 4000 class, Ian Coulson, Alan Dickerson, Eddie Popper, and Karen Nickel. Thank you. Without you guys, I couldn't do this.